First contact. The official communication from Galactic Science Academy headquarters arrived with all the subtlety of a molecular disruption pulse. Station Chief Dr. Bry Eyes stared at the holographic transmission, his 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession, a gesture that among his species signaled profound disbelief. A human. They were sending a human researcher to Pyro 7. Pyro 7 was not a planet for the faint of heart, or, more accurately, for any known biological entity with standard carbon-based physiological constraints. With surface temperatures averaging 873 Kelvin and constant volcanic activity that would reduce most organic life forms to ash within seconds, it was a research station designed for extreme environmental adaptation. The station's AI, known simply as Core, had already begun processing the logistical nightmare this human's arrival would represent. Thermal shielding, radiation protocols, emergency evacuation scenarios, each calculation revealed exponential complexity. Core, Dr. Bry Eyes spoke, his tertiary communication appendage twitching with barely contained anxiety, provide a comprehensive risk assessment for human integration into our research protocols. The AI's calm blue holographic interface flickered, running millions of computational scenarios per microsecond. Probability of human survival under standard station conditions, 0.0037%. Dr. Nick Swiftwing, the station's geological specialist, let out a sharp chirp of alarm. His feathered crest, typically a vibrant emerald during moments of scientific excitement, had now dulled to a pale, nervous green. A human? Here. Impossible. They're not even radiation resistant. Their biological structures are absurdly fragile. Professor Trill Moon Weaver, whose crystalline form refracted the constant orange-red light filtering through the station's reinforced windows, hummed a complex harmonic of concern. Her molecular structure, adapted to extreme environments, found the very concept of a human surviving on Pyro 7 mathematically improbable. Yet the transmission was clear. Maya Rodriguez. Volcanologist. Earth. Incoming. Little did they know that Maya Rodriguez was about to redefine every single one of their understanding of biological adaptation, scientific methodology, and the very concept of planetary survival. The human transport vessel would arrive in less than a standard cycle, and the Pyro 7 research team was about to experience a paradigm shift that would echo through galactic scientific archives for generations to come. Unexpected capabilities. The landing pad trembled slightly, whether from the planet's constant geological instability or the research team's collective nervous anticipation was anyone's guess. Dr. Bry Eyes had positioned himself at the primary observation window, all 4 eyes focused intently on the approaching vessel. Maya Rodriguez's transport was a compact, utilitarian craft that seemed to defy the conventional design aesthetics of interstellar travel. Where most galactic vessels boasted sleek, aerodynamic curves and complex energy shielding, this looked almost mundane. When the airlock hissed open and Maya stepped through, the entire research team went momentarily silent. She was smaller than they had anticipated. Approximately 1.65 meters tall, with brown skin and an apparently casual demeanor that seemed wildly inappropriate for a planet where ambient temperatures could melt most known metals. Her environmental suit, if one could even call it that, looked more like a fitted athletic outfit than serious planetary exploration gear. Dr. Rodriguez, welcome to Pyro 7, Dr. Bry Eyes intoned through the station's communication systems, his voice deliberately measured and professional. Please proceed through our standard decontamination and protective gear allocation protocols. Maya waved, a gesture the xenobiological team had studied but never quite understood, and responded with a cheerful, thanks, but I've got my own gear. What happened next would become legendary in scientific circles across multiple star systems. From her compact travel pack, Maya extracted what appeared to be nothing more than a thin, silvery suit. Nick Swiftwing's feathered crest bristled with immediate skepticism. That cannot possibly provide adequate protection, he muttered, his anti-grav stabilizers humming with nervous energy. Professor Trill, whose crystalline structure was already showing stress fractures from the constant heat, vibrated with academic incredulity. The energy requirements alone to maintain thermal stability in these conditions would be 2000 Kelvin, Maya interrupted, stepping into the airlock with a confidence that bordered on the surreal. Rated and tested. Based on the same principles as the heat shields we used on space shuttles decades ago. Nanofiber weave is the real trick. 2000 Kelvin. The number hung in the air, a seemingly impossible claim that challenged everything the Pyro 7 research team understood about thermal protection. As Maya completed the decontamination sequence and entered the main research area, Dr. Bry-Eyes found himself experiencing an emotion remarkably similar to what humans might call intimidation, a sensation entirely unfamiliar to a seasoned xenobiological researcher. The human was about to teach them something profound about the nature of adaptation, survival, and scientific exploration. Scientific revolution. The research station's meticulously crafted safety protocols, developed over 3 standard galactic cycles of intense study and numerous near-catastrophic incidents, were about to meet their most significant challenge, Maya Rodriguez's radical approach to scientific exploration. "I've studied your existing protocols," Maya announced, pulling out a data pad that seemed to interface seamlessly with the station's complex alien technology. "Fascinating engineering, but there's definitely room for optimization." Nick Swiftwing's feathered crest deflated visibly. These protocols had been his personal contribution to the Pyro 7 research initiative. "Optimize," he squawked, "these took us multiple cycles to perfect." Maya's smile, a human facial expression that the alien researchers were still struggling to fully comprehend, suggested she was well aware of the protocol's complexity and was nonetheless confident in her ability to improve them. Her proposed modifications were nothing short of revolutionary. Where the current research methodology relied on remote drone sampling at strict minimum safe distances, Maya proposed direct, close proximity investigation using technologies that seemed to defy the fundamental laws of thermal dynamics. "Look," she said, unrolling digital schematics that projected holographic representations of her proposed instruments, "these spectrometers are designed for direct lava flow sampling. We're talking meters away, not the 50-meter safety buffer you're currently using." Professor Trill's crystalline structure shifted to an anxious purple hue. "Meters? From active lava flows? That's not just improbable, it's fundamentally impossible." Maya's response was to pull out what looked like small silver discs. "Personal shield generators. Latest Earth tech. They can withstand a direct lava splash for up to 30 seconds. Plenty of time to collect data and get clear. 30 seconds of lava immunity. From a device smaller than Dr. Bry-Eyes' smallest manipulative appendage." The implications were staggering. What kind of technological civilization could casually develop such capabilities? What evolutionary pressures could possibly drive the development of such robust protective technologies? Dr. Bry-Eyes, attempting to maintain some semblance of professional protocol, suggested a controlled test of Maya's equipment. To everyone's surprise, and mild terror, she agreed with enthusiastic immediacy. "Safety first," Maya chirped, a statement that would become something of an ironic running joke among the research team in the coming standard cycles. Little did they know that safety was about to be redefined in ways no galactic research team had ever anticipated. Impossible exploration. The morning of their first joint field expedition arrived with Pyro 7's characteristic apocalyptic landscape, skies burned orange with suspended ash, ground trembling with subterranean magma flows, and an ambient temperature that would have vaporized most known biological protective systems. "Perfect conditions," Maya announced, her excitement palpable and seemingly incongruous with the hellish environment surrounding them. Their research transport hovered at the edge of what the team had dramatically dubbed the Burning Valley, a region of such intense geological activity that even their most advanced sensing equipment struggled to maintain consistent readings. Professor Trill's crystalline matrix was already showing stress fractures from the heat, despite the cooling systems Maya had provided. 932 Kelvin, Dr. Bry-Eyes heard himself repeating weakly, that's low. Maya laughed, a sound that seemed to cut through the constant background rumble of planetary tectonics. Compared to some places back on Earth, this is practically a mild summer day. Her approach to navigation was nothing short of mystifying. Where the alien researchers moved with calculated, cautious steps, constantly monitoring thermal readings and structural stability, Maya moved with an almost dance-like fluidity. The key, she called back to them, is to listen to the rock. It'll tell you where it's safe to step. Nick Swiftwing's crest rose in confusion. The rock talks. Figure of speech, Maya explained, demonstrating by tapping her boot against different surface textures. Different densities create different acoustic signatures. You can actually determine structural integrity by sound. As they approached their first sampling site, approximately 100 meters from an active lava flow, the alien researchers braced themselves for what they were certain would be a catastrophic demonstration of human fragility. They were wrong. What happened next would be forever recorded in the annals of xenobiological research, a moment that would challenge every preconceived notion about biological adaptation and survival. Maya Rodriguez began removing her protective suit. Redefining survival. The moment Maya stepped onto a section of barely cooled lava crust, surface crackling, glowing red at the edges, was the moment everything the Pyro 7 research team understood about biological survival fundamentally changed. "Reminds me of walking on the beach back home," she said casually, wriggling her toes inside thin boots that should have melted instantaneously. Nick Swiftwing's anti-grav stabilizers caught him as he fainted, overcome by the sheer impossibility of what he was witnessing. The biometric data streaming back to the research station told a story that defied every known physiological model. According to the readings, Maya's internal temperature had barely shifted during an expedition where surrounding environmental conditions exceeded 1000 Kelvin. Back in the station's thermal-reinforced observation room, Maya explained human thermoregulation with the same casual attitude she had displayed while walking on molten rock. "We sweat," she said, as if this simple statement explained everything. And in many ways, it did. The human capacity for adaptive response, an automatic, unconscious process of temperature management, was so elegant in its simplicity that it made the complex thermal protection systems of other galactic species seem almost comically over-engineered. Dr. Bry's eyes reviewed the thermal imaging scans repeatedly. Maya had walked on surfaces that should have instantly vaporized any known protective material, yet her boots remained intact, her body temperature stable. "How?" Professor Trill asked, her crystalline form cycling through shades of scientific wonder and existential confusion. Maya's explanation was simultaneously simple and profound. Humans, she explained, were Deathworlders, a term that would soon enter xenobiological lexicon. Evolved on a planet with wildly variable and often hostile conditions, human biology had developed unprecedented adaptive capabilities. Temperature regulation. Rapid healing. Psychological resilience in the face of extreme stress. The ability to not just survive, but explore and thrive in environments that would obliterate most known life forms. The Pyro 7 research team had expected to study a fragile human scientist. Instead, they had encountered a representative of a species that was, in its own way, as extraordinary and adaptable as the most advanced technological civilizations in the galaxy. Maya Rodriguez had not just conducted a scientific expedition. She had rewritten the fundamental understanding of biological potential. And this was just the beginning.